judgment proof. You may have heard about it, you may have considered it if you have a judgment against you, but what exactly is it, what's collectible, and how can you protect your assets as best as possible? Well, let's talk about it. I'm Eleanor Curry, your favorite business law and real estate attorney with the Curry Law Firm, and we are having a seminar this Thursday to make sure you understand what judgment liens can do to you and how you can protect your assets against them. However, lots of people come to me on either the litigation side of the practice or the estate and legacy side and want to know how can they make sure their assets are protected, they are judgment proof, and lots of times people are not aware of what the state of Texas already provides as natural protections when it comes to your assets. So today we're going to talk about them, and I want to send a brief reminder that if you are being served, if you are in a lawsuit, make sure to participate in that lawsuit. Even if you're saying, I don't have any assets, what is there to collect? You may have assets one day, and a judgment lien is in place for 10 years and can be renewed. So if you don't participate now, it is very difficult to go backwards and say that's not fair, these amounts aren't right, I shouldn't pay these fees or that fees. You have to participate now to try to lower it as much as possible, even if you cannot satisfy it at this time. So make sure, pay attention, participate. But if you do find yourself with a judgment lien against you from a credit card company or due to a car accident, here's what you need to know when it comes to the assets you already have. So what is protected? We'll go through a list and see what the state of Texas already provides as far as protections for your assets when it comes to only a civil judgment against you. First and foremost, we'll talk about your homestead. This is different than real property because the state of Texas does protect your homestead from a judgment lien. However, it does not protect other properties. That may be some investment properties or a second home. Just know that real property can have a judgment assessed against it, placed on the deed or placed on the records, which would cause a cloud on title and needs to be satisfied before that property is sold, but not for your homestead. So you can utilize a homestead exemption if that property is properly claimed and filed as your homestead and you live in it. So step one, homesteads, check. Next, retirement plans. For most retirement plans in Texas, yes, it is exempt. You are able to protect that if there is a judgment against you. I've separated that out from IRAs because you need to be careful when it comes to IRAs. If you are doing any kind of transfer over, you're paying it out, you're transferring from place to place, it may become susceptible if you're not careful. So be careful when it comes to IRAs and if you're doing a rollover or transfer of that account for any reason. Then you have life insurance you also are really protected when it comes to life insurance, and that includes any cash value you have or annuity payments that are being paid out of that life insurance. So that is also pre-protected from the state of Texas. Next, we have wages. Now, if you had like a child support lien or anything like that, you may feel like, hey, I might be susceptible to a lien on my wages or deduction of my wages to satisfy this judgment. But in the state of Texas, that is generally untrue. If it's a current wage, not things that you've accumulated in your bank account and now are there that could be seized. If it is just wages that you're currently making with a current employer, no, those typically cannot be reached in a judgment lien. However, once those assets in our bank account, that may be a different story. Next, we have personal property. In Texas, there is a limit for a person of $50,000 and a family of $100,000 on any personal property. So that may be furniture, that may be watches and other assets that you own that are considered personal property. So you do have a limit, but anything over that $50,000 limit for a person, $100,000 for a family could be subject to collection in a judgment lien. So we'll put a circle right here. Cars. If it is a car that you are using, usually one car per licensed driver for a household, that is also protected. But if you have additional cars, similar to additional properties that are above and beyond what is the need for a licensed driver in the household, chances are that is subject to or potentially subject to collection from a judgment lien. So we'll put a circle here too. And last but not least, tools. No, we're not talking about a hammer that you have in your house. We're talking about tools for the trade, any equipment that you use in your business. Typically that is also exempt. So you have a long list of exemptions before you even start thinking about some more advanced strategies like putting things in LLCs or putting things in trust. You have some natural exemptions. So if your assets are under that, you typically will be considered judgment proof. However, that is just a now situation. And in the next 10 years, at any time, if you exceed these limitations, then you could have those assets collected. So you want to make sure you pay careful attention and you understand the laws and rules surrounding it. They do change. This is a statutory rule. And so you just want to be mindful and aware if there is a judgment against you. Now, tune in every day if you want additional details, especially in advanced strategies, if you're a business owner or you have additional assets that you want to make sure are protected for yourself or your loved ones. We're happy to share that information. And if you want to see this information in a PDF that breaks down exactly what the statutory limitations for collections are for a civil judgment in the state of Texas, make sure you put judgment proof below. We will also share details on our upcoming seminar and ways you can make sure your assets, your family, and the things you've worked very hard to build